For decades, health and wellness companies promised consumers a faster, easier path to weight loss, better health, and longer lives. Products like Fen-Phen, ephedra, hydroxycut, trim spa, and Airborne became household names. They pulled in billions of dollars and attracted millions of loyal customers. Their success was built on clever marketing, celebrity endorsements, and the universal desire for quick fixes to complex health problems. But one by one, these products collapsed. Some were linked to heart damage, strokes, and liver failure. Others simply lost public trust when their claims could not hold up under any real scrutiny. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why these products failed, how the industry allowed it to happen, and what it tells us about the health and wellness market you're shopping in right now. Let's start with the size of this industry because the numbers are staggering. According to the Global Wellness Institute, the global health and wellness economy was valued at over $4.5 trillion as of 2021. The dietary supplement market alone was worth roughly $140 billion in 2020, and Fortune Business Insights projected it would reach around $230 billion by 2027. In the United States, a survey by the Council for Responsible Nutrition in 2022 found that about 77% of adults take dietary supplements. That is more than 3 out of every 4 people. With that much money on the table and that many customers reaching for bottles, the pressure to sell is enormous. And where there is pressure to sell, there is temptation to cut corners. Here is something most people do not realize. Over 80% of dietary supplements do not go through the FDA's rigorous approval process. That is because supplements are categorized differently than prescription drugs. A pharmaceutical company has to prove its product is safe and effective before it hits the shelves. A supplement company does not. It can launch a product, make broad health claims, and sell millions of units before anyone in government even takes a close look. This gap between drugs and supplements is where the trouble begins. Take Fen-Phen as an example. It was a combination of fenfluramine and phentermine, prescribed to millions of people for weight loss. Doctors handed it out, patients loved the results, and the product became a sensation. But reports started coming in about heart valve damage and a rare lung condition. The fallout was massive. Lawsuits piled up, the product was pulled, and the trust that patients had placed in the medical system took a serious hit. Ephedra followed a similar arc. It was one of the most popular weight loss and energy supplements on the market. You could find it in fat burners, workout boosters, and diet pills sold at every major retailer. But ephedra was linked to heart attacks, strokes, and deaths. The FDA banned ephedra-containing dietary supplements, and just like that, a product that had dominated the shelves disappeared. Hydroxycut had its own dramatic fall. At its peak, it was one of the best-selling weight loss supplements in North America. Then came reports of liver damage. The FDA issued a warning, and the company had to recall certain hydroxycut products. The brand tried to reformulate and come back, but the damage to its reputation was already done. Trim Spa rode the wave of celebrity culture. It became famous largely because of spokesperson Anna Nicole Smith, who credited the product for her dramatic weight loss. Sales soared. But when questions arose about whether the product actually worked, and after Smith's tragic death in 2007, Trim Spa faced lawsuits alleging false advertising. The company eventually settled, and the brand faded from public view. Airborne told a different kind of story. It was marketed as a cold prevention formula, supposedly created by a school teacher. Millions of people bought it, trusting that it could stop them from getting sick. But a class action lawsuit challenged those claims, and Airborne agreed to pay over $23 million in settlements because there was no credible scientific evidence that the product actually prevented colds. The company had to change its marketing entirely. Now, here is where the story gets more interesting. In 2015, the FDA issued warnings to several companies about the marketing of unproven health supplements. This was not a quiet behind-the-scenes memo. It was a public signal that the agency was paying closer attention. In 2016, GNC agreed to a settlement over misleading advertising, which contributed to a decline in sales for the retail giant. Companies like Herbalife and Juice Plus also experienced ups and downs, facing regulatory scrutiny and struggling to meet consumer expectations. By 2019, the rise of e-commerce had changed the game again. Online platforms made it easy for new, untested supplements to reach consumers directly. You did not need a spot on a store shelf anymore. You just needed a website, some social media ads, and a few influencer endorsements. This explosion of new products led to an increase in failures because many of these supplements were launched without proper testing or evidence behind them. Then came 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic created a massive spike in demand for immunity-related products. Elderberry supplements and vitamin C flew off shelves. But this surge came with a flip side. Products that were not tied to immunity fell out of favor almost overnight. The market experienced high turnover, and many brands that could not pivot fast enough simply disappeared. By 2022, the tide had shifted again. Certain herbal supplements that had been popular for years saw a real decline in sales. The reason was a growing push for evidence-based marketing and rising consumer skepticism. People were doing more research before buying. Internet activism played a role too. Online communities called out brands for making unsupported claims, and products like certain detox teas lost their customer base almost entirely. This brings us to a point that challenges what many people assume. The common belief is that if a product is on the shelf at a major retailer, it must be safe and it must work. But the reality is very different. The FDA itself reported increased scrutiny on wellness products for safety and effectiveness in 2020, and this led to many companies shutting down operations just to avoid legal action. The system relies heavily on companies policing themselves, and when money is involved, self-regulation has its limits. Prominent figures have also been caught up in this. Dr. Oz, one of the most recognized names in health media, faced scrutiny over products and endorsements he promoted on his show. Some of those endorsements were eventually withdrawn. His case showed that even the biggest names in health and wellness are not immune to the market's shifting standards. As of 2023, the FDA has ramped up regulations on supplement manufacturers, pushing harder to make sure that health claims are backed by clinical evidence. Previously popular products, including certain nootropics marketed as brain boosters and some energy drinks, have seen steep sales declines as consumers become more informed and more careful about what they put in their bodies. There is an ongoing debate about all of this. Some health advocates argue that the wellness product industry is filled with products that do not work, and that we need much stricter regulations to protect consumers. They point to the long list of products that cause real harm or simply fail to deliver. On the other side, some industry supporters say that the diversity of the supplement market gives people the freedom to experiment and find what works for their individual health needs, even if some products along the way do not pan out. Both sides have a point, but the pattern is hard to ignore. Product after product follows the same path. Rapid growth, massive popularity, growing controversy, and then decline. The companies that failed to keep up with the growing demand for transparency, honest ingredient sourcing, and accountable marketing found themselves on the wrong side of consumer trust. And that is the real lesson here. In the health and wellness industry, success can come fast. A good marketing campaign, a celebrity endorsement, or a viral social media moment can turn an unknown supplement into a household name almost overnight. But trust once broken is almost impossible to rebuild. Consumers remember when a product promised to make them healthier and instead put them at risk. They remember when a brand claimed scientific backing that did not exist. And in an age where information spreads instantly, those memories stick. The stories of Fen-Phen, ephedra, hydroxycut, trim spa, Airborne, and dozens of other products are not just cautionary tales from the past. They are warning signs for the present. With new supplements launching every single day across online platforms, and with the dietary supplement market on track to reach $230 billion in the next few years, the conditions that created these failures have not gone away. If anything, the speed at which new products can reach consumers has made the risk even greater. The question is not whether another popular health product will fall off the market. The question is which one is next.